Hello, and we're here with some more fact time. In my last video, I talked about birds and bird watching and more about how we can actually participate in the hobby of bird watching. In another video, I might like to comment more on birds. There's a lot there. But in this video, I kind of want to bounce off of my last one on bird watching. Maybe bird watching is not your thing. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. And in this video, I actually want to show some of the ways that you can actually turn science and nature into a hobby. You don't have to go to school for many, many years and get a position as a researcher or as a teacher to engage in science. You don't. Every one of you watching this can be involved in science in some way or other. And yes, I literally mean every single one of you, even if you're a child, even if you have children, even if you're, working a ton, multiple jobs, there's things you can squeak in on the side. If you're retired, if you're in the northern reaches of Canada, the southern reaches of Africa, it doesn't matter. There are things that you can do to participate here. Particularly, it's easier with the internet as well. There's all sorts of citizen science projects out there. I'm just going to say, look into that online if you're interested. There are so many, too many, I can't even list. I know that the Natural History Museum of Utah, of which I work for, they have some fantastic citizen science projects. We have one by our entomologist, Christy Bills, about fireflies in Utah, trying to track where we locate, where they're located and things. And we've got some things you can do online from your computer. We've got a transcription process, transcribing old field documents and things. There's always something you can do, and that's just my museum. There's all sorts of things you can do all over. But I want to actually push things out a little bit, broaden our definitions of engaging with science. I'd like to do that today, if I may, if you will indulge me in doing so. We talked about bird watching. If you go out and hike, you're engaging with nature. That's, time spent. That's a form of a hobby there. You can go to the beach if you have one, sit down and watch the sea. You may not see any animals, maybe. You probably will, but you may not. That's okay. You're still engaging with nature. Nature is not just animals. We're talking about the earth. We're talking about the forces in the earth. We're talking about rocks, clouds, all these. If you like just cloud spot or rock hound or anything, those are earth and science and nature based hobbies. You could like stargazing. That's great too. That's fantastic. Oh, I highly recommend that. There's nothing like seeing something so far away, up close. There's nothing, absolutely nothing like it. But there's all sorts of things you can do, and you can do them here during this quarantine pandemic. When things open up, you'll have even more options. You can go back to museums, zoos, planetariums, aquariums. You can do all these fantastic sorts of things. But right now, you can still do things. I mean, maybe you're stuck and you can't even go out and hike, and all you can do is watch nature videos online, or watch a documentary or read a book or something. That's all okay. That's just fine. Look at me here. I've got a fair amount of books, as you see here, and you might want to read about whatever in particular you want to read about that is nature related, and I find that helps cure my nature need. And there's all these sorts of things. And we can push things out a little bit. Hardcore science and mathematics, physics, chemistry, that's all part of nature too. So let's not forget about those at all. Let's not forget about that. We need to embrace this thing as a whole and stop compartmentalizing. You might like stargazing and not care about bird watching. You might want to rock hound and not care about either bird watching or stargazing. That's all okay. We can all do these things. You might want to collect insects. Oh, that's an amazing hobby. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so much fun. Or even just watching insects. You don't even have to collect them. Just go out there and watch ants. I mean, my friends will laugh at me like when we go hiking or anything, because I stop and I look at the butterflies and I look at the flies, and oh my gosh, there's a bee. My day is made if there's a bee, and there's always 10, so my day is made like 10 times in the same day. And a bumblebee will be great, or a snake. Oh, if you see a snake crossing your path, that's like, oh, weak made. But all these things are great. This is all engaging in nature. It's okay. There are apps you can do all sorts of things. I understand there are video game like I don't game too much or hardly at all. But I'm told Animal Crossing has a lot of science and nature-based things. It's a game I know a lot of people are playing right now. So there's something that can get you a little bit closer to nature. And if you don't want to read nonfiction, but you still want to read, that's okay. There are still things you can do. Pardon me as I reach for my book supply here. A lot of fiction books aren't necessarily concentrated on nature, but they might relate to it. Recent one I read, the Southern Reach trilogy by Jeff Vandermeer. Fantastic. It might scare the crap out of you. I know it did me a little bit, but it still has a lot about nature. You can read Robert Backer's Raptor Red about it's a little from the point of view of a Utah raptor. Fantastic novel. Back to Birds, a famous one is Mark, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to say this right, so I'm just going to let you read it, all right? The Big Year, very famous bird book. Happy to have a copy before they reproduced it for the movie. And same for this one, actually. Master and Commander, it's really about, Napoleonic warfare and history. And during the Age of Sail, the Napoleonic Navy under Lord Nelson. But one of the main characters, if you've seen the movie, Dr. Stephen Maturin is a naturalist. And there's all sorts of things in this book where he's looking at snakes and birds and all sorts of great things. So that is one way, just one small way, where you can actually jump into just touch nature while doing something else you really love and enjoy. And you can do that with movies too. It's not just books. Documentaries are great, but even some movies that are completely fictional have great scenery. And I'm going to argue that that's nice too, even if it's not a nature-based film. There's great scenery in a great many films and cinematic masterpieces and the like. You can dial it back a little bit and a little bit closer to its roots. You can sit here, talk to a rock, see what it has to say. It will, if you know how to listen. They have things to say. The sky, the clouds, the stars, the planets, the ocean, the waters, the rivers. Even if all you've got is a little patch of dirt at the edge of a curb, there's something there. There's dirt. There's probably some kind of plant. There's probably some kind of insect. It might be a rock or two. There's something there. There's always something for you. And there's so many ways now, particularly with, as I mentioned before, the internet. So many things you can do. Just think about this. You can still do your games. Actually, not just video games. Like, I have a lot of science-based board games I love. Sharkopoly, that's great. I make my friends read the factual or the facts on the back of the cards. Or if they don't, I will read them aloud. I want to make sure people are always learning. But having fun while we do it. And it's okay to sometimes not just do hardcore, like, I got to do science, I got to do it, and then I got to find some way to do it hardcore. And I know, I do that to myself all the time. I'm sure a lot of my colleagues and science friends do the same to themselves. But it's okay to take a step back and maybe put on some nature sounds, and maybe that's your nature for the day. I love recorded nature sounds. The ocean, particularly ones underwater, are fantastic. Bird sounds are fantastic. Wind in the forest, wind in the desert. Oh, that's beautiful. As well as whale sounds. Oh my gosh, I could listen to whale sounds all day. There are a lot of wonderful live streams too. Some of my favorites, like bird nest cams, zoo cams, so you can see animals like bears in their dens. But probably my all-time favorite are aquarium cams. And some of these might be in the actual ocean, so it's really cool. You see actual things in the ocean, but you see less than an aquarium because there's less things in that confined space. So like the Monterey Bay Aquarium, for example, and other aquariums out there as well have plenty of great videos, some of them live, where you can just sit there and watch. And there's nothing like it to calm the nerves. But there are so many things out there that you can do. From, like I said, the books, to the games, to the documentaries. It just doesn't stop. Think about it this way, if I may cap this and wrap this up. We're all made up of atoms. All of us. Atoms are made up of subatomic particles and then beyond that would be a physics lesson. We won't get there today. But my point is, these tiny, tiny little things that you can't even see, that I sure can't see with my not great eyesight, they are so tiny, they're microscopic, we cannot see them. They make up everything. Everything from me, to my hair, to this bookshelf behind me, to the books and things I showed today, to rocks, dirt, the ocean, the water in the ocean, the air in the sky, the feathers of a bird, the blood of a deer, the fur of a hamster, the scales of a fish or a reptile. It is everywhere. There is no avoiding the conclusion, the overwhelming beauty and connection we have with everything all around us. Everything is interconnected. There's no way around it. Think about that. Embrace that. I would hardly encourage you to do so. And even if all you can do is close your eyes and think about nature, if that's all you can do where you're at or what you're doing at that specific time, that's okay, that's valid. I see that, and I heartily commend you for doing so. The more nature in our lives, the better. Research shows the more nature, the more wild, the more of our roots we can get into the actual, more of our evolutionary roots we can get into our actual daily lives, the better off we are. So think about those things, engage in nature in one of the myriad ways that you find you want to. There are plenty that I didn't mention here. There's too many that I don't think I could ever compile, even if that was my life's work. There's just too many things to do, and it's great because there's so many options and you get to pick. So think about that, engage in nature a little bit more. Hopefully that balms your soul like it does mine. We'll be back with Fact Time next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.